Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 27th and potentially the final episode of Chess This Week. Now, for starters, apologies for not bringing a Chess This Week the previous week, and the reason for that is this tournament which I played in IIT Bombay, and this was a rapid and blitz event in Mumbai. It was not at all easy, and in fact, in the rapid tournament, I struggled quite a lot. This was won by the 20-year-old Akash Dalvi from Thane, who has been playing an insane amount of games online in the last few years, almost 50,000 games on chess.com. The blitz was much better for me, much smoother, and I managed to hit my stride and win this tournament. This was the story of my previous weekend and Chess This Week the previous week. Moving on to the Chess This Week this week. Now we start with the Women Grand Prix in New Delhi, which has been highly controversial. It began with the withdrawal of Abdulmalik Zanzaya from the event even before the first round began. Now, this is her version from Instagram. She left the tournament because she felt the preparation for the event was not adequate. She was not picked up at the airport, and the location of the hotel was quite close to a landfill, poor air quality. These were the many reasons that she mentioned. For whatever reasons, she found the preparation of the event unsatisfactory and left even before the tournament could begin. And this was responded by an apology by the FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich, who apologized for the situation, and the information provided earlier was sufficient, but the local organizers were not prepared. This does not mean that the FIDE is not to be blamed. This was Arkady's private correspondence with Zanzaya, which was shared by her on an Instagram. However, this led to a further drama when Zanzaya's compatriot Bibisara Asabayeva was super critical of Zanzaya leaving the tournament, and the statement by Bibisara on her Instagram was not civil at all, including a quite sexist remark towards the end where she mentioned if Zanzaya to respond to every little thing, then it's better to start sports or read to stop sports, get married and cook borscht. She was super critical of Zanzaya's decision to just leave the tournament and cause inconvenience to other players, and this was again responded to by Abdulmalik, who once again defended herself, explained her position, and listed the whole sequence of events of informing Arkady, the executive director, Emil Satorsky, and also Arkady's reply to her private message, and apologized to her colleagues for posting the correspondence where Elizabeth Petz from her email ID wrote along with the names of several other players playing in the Grand Prix, expressing their dissatisfaction of the tournament to FIDE. And these are Grandmaster Elizabeth Petz's words. I do not intend to post anything private from the current emotional roller coaster happening during the FIDE Grand Prix in Delhi, but some things are just too unexpected to stay silent about. And she mentioned about serious problems in the airport, insufficient organization, and she didn't leave because she didn't want to stop the tournament, but nevertheless everything came out in the public. And Zanzaya, after she left, the tournament was to continue as intended, except with the same pairings, but without Abdulmalik. And the Indian star Savita Sri was also called up to the tournament, but due to reasons which has not yet been made public, she was called and then she was informed not to come to the tournament. All these things happened just before the tournament, and the whole drama has been sad. Although at the end of it, I do hope the organization for women's events do get better. Bibisara has also been involved in controversies before, and to get back to this, we have to go all the way back 5 years on a completely different note when she was accused of cheating by Russian Grandmaster Sholozhenkin. His daughter alleged that she heard Bibisara talking in the washroom, asking for some evaluation, and this was later unproven. It was a case of she said, she said. In fact, Grandmaster Sholozhenkin was suspended for making accusations, and he was even sued by Bibisara's mother. She was just 14 years old, and to give a bit of background, she is also the world women's blitz champion for the last 2 editions. In the end, the tournament did manage to start after the letter from the FIDE president Arkady Dvorkovich, where he once again apologized for the situation, which was great dissatisfaction among the players and put the tournament in danger. But if the tournament is stopped right now, then it's difficult to find another good spot in the calendar for the tournament. And also that we don't want to create a precedent where if one player withdraws, then the whole tournament gets derailed. So after all these very difficult situation for everyone, especially the players who are playing, the tournament began, and all these things happened in the previous week. Very unpleasant situation. But the tournament kicked off, and at the end of 8 rounds, in a very messy situation with pairings involving some players having like 3 or 4 whites in a row, some players having 3 or 4 blacks in a row. Overall, some players having like 6 whites and 3 blacks, some players having 6 blacks and 3 whites. And this is the standings after round 8. Zhu and Bibi Sara at the top. Zhu has more points right now with 5 out of 7, and Bibi Sara has 5 points, but she has played 1 less game than Zhu. And due to the withdrawal of Elizabeth Bates before the first round, all the players get a point from her as well. So this is the roundup of the Women Grand Prix. A very controversial beginning, but the tournament has almost stumbled towards the end with 3 more rounds to go. Now moving on to another very important women's event, the candidates final. No known controversies in this tournament. Now this is between Lei Tinghe and Tan Zhongyi, and it's a 6-game match, and the winner will play against the current world champion Zhu Wenjun. At the end of 4 rounds, it's Lei Tinghe who is leading with 1.5 and is a probable favorite to win this matchup despite losing the first game. And coming back to these non-world championship tournaments, the normal opens, the Reykjavik Open is taking place. A lot of prestigious names out there, not Mr. Dodgy, but Anna Kramling, the Botes, Alexandra Botes, because Andrea is busy training for her chess boxing match, and Eric Rosen, Dina Belenkaya, a lot of popular names out there. At the end of 6 rounds, it's Grandmaster Abhijit Gupta, Mr. Commonwealth, who is leading with 5 out of 6, along with the French Grandmaster Maxime Lagarde. Our youngster V Pranav is also playing against the legend Vasil Ivanchuk in round 7. That's going to be a super interesting match up to watch out for. And apart from that, there's a tournament going on in India itself, in Indo, the Mayor's Cup, and just 3 rounds over here so far. Aradhya Garg caused an upset, defeating the first seed Levan Pansulaya in the second round, and at the end of 3 rounds we have quite a few players leading. Some of the top seeds having suffered a loss or draw early on, but we have Grandmaster Mekerlishvili on top there along with a lot of other players. These are the ongoing events right now. Now from the events that happened in the past week, the American Cup, this was almost like the US Championship consisting of top American players, starting with Hikaru Nakamura, Wesley So, Fabiano, Levon Aronian. And this was won by, no prizes for guessing this one, Hikaru Nakamura. Although it was by no means a cakewalk, Hikaru and So kept playing against each other as it was a double elimination format. They played each other 3 times, and Hikaru managed to win the first time. He lost the second matchup, and in the third matchup, Wesley ended up blundering her piece, and Hikaru prevailed, winning yet another tournament. What an amazing player. And in the women's, it was a matchup between Irina Krush and the young 13-year-old Alice Lee. Experience prevailed in this one, as Irina Krush managed to win against Alice Lee. American Cup, not yet a wonderland, but a lot of promise held by Alice Lee. Moving on to more women events, the European Women Individual Chess Championship was held in Montenegro, and this was won by the Georgian International Master Miri Arabidze after 11 thrilling hard-fought games. The Polish International Master Olivia Kiolbasa also came quite close, had the same number of points, but Mary just edged her out on the tiebreak. And the third place was won by Alexandra Maltsevskaya. Apologies if I'm getting that name wrong. It was at one point the first 3 was occupied by the Polish players, but Mary got that in the end. It was a super strong event, and as you can see, quite a few prominent grandmasters not finishing in the top 10 here. Elena Danielian, Bela Kortnashvili, and we even see a popular streamer there, Lile Koridze. So this was the European individual championship for women. And moving back closer to home, the Delhi Open Chess Championship, this was held parallelly along with the Women's Grand Prix, and over 1,000 players took part. Now, Delhi Open is always a mega event with more than 1,000 players taking part, but usually it is split over different categories divided by rating groups. This time they were all put together in one group. Not the best idea for open events, as this led to many grandmasters playing against opposition below 2000 in almost every single game, which is not at all friendly for their rating. But this was won by Arvind Chidambaram, who played some fabulous chess, winning 9 out of 10 games. He was just amazing. He was just playing chess at a different level and proved to be exceptional, gaining rating points. SP Sethuraman finished in the third place, losing a considerable chunk of rating, but winning a considerable amount of prize money. I'm not sure if you would classify that as a good trade-off, but this was the story of Delhi Open, and Grandmaster Luca finished in the second place. Special mention to the young kid Ethan Ross, who finished with 8.5 out of 10 and finished in the 6th place, was in fact the only non-GM in the top 10. And moving on to more amazing achievements by the under 16 kids, Leon Luke Mendonca. He played a fabulous tournament, matching my score in the Avan Blitz tournament, 9 out of 9, but against a much stronger opposition. Many Grandmaster victims amongst Leon's opponents in this tournament, the HIT Open, and he won with a margin of 2.5 points. Next best Grandmaster in the tournament scored only 6.5 points. That was how incredibly dominant Leon was, and he took the HIT Open. And there was also a match between one of UK's finest players, Michael Adams, against Ukraine's Andriy Volokitin. It was a UK versus Ukraine solidarity match, which happened in London. And this was won by Andriy Volokitin with a round to spare. He had a 2-point lead. Adams managed to win the final game, but this was an incredible performance. Michael Adams is a legend, and Volokitin had to show some incredible chess to pull this match in his favor. Now, that's this episode of the Chess This Week. We have the Chessable Masters coming up from April 3 to 7, and this is going to be an amazing event. Some of the superstars are actually playing in Division 2. People like Anish, people like Arjun, Raunak, to name a few notable names. And of course, the Division 1 has Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru, Wesley, so all the usual suspects. And we also have the Fagner's Open in Norway, where Grandmaster Sethuraman is spearheading the field. Now, if you like this episode, do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hopefully see you all really soon.